What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. We'll start with some baseball scores from yesterday. Pirates over the Padres 5-4. Padres are really showing they've lost 5 games in a row. They're now 7 games under 500 at 37-44. Really having a tough time. It's a team that, actually they were my World Series pick this year, and I don't think they're even going to make the playoffs. They've been really bad this year. I heard there's a little finger pointing going on in the clubhouse. They're a mess over there. Henry Davis, the number 1 overall pick catcher from Pittsburgh, who they recently called up, had 3 hits in the game. Tigers over the Texas Rangers 8-5. You had the Royals beat the Guardians 4-3 in 10 innings. Yankees beat the Athletics 10-4, so they win the series over. Of course, that was following up the perfect game from Domingo Germán. Rays over the Diamondbacks 6-1. White Sox over the Angels 9-7. Ohtani has 14 home runs this month, 29 for the year, but the White Sox win the game. Marlins over the Red Sox 2-0. Brian Bello took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Arias had a rare hitless day. Still making 392 though, which is just incredible. Blue Jays beat the San Francisco Giants 2-1. Giants have a little bit of a power outage comes to their offense so far this series against Toronto. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. says he plans to participate in the home run derby. He was the runner-up, I think, in 2019 to beat Alonso. Brewers beat the Mets 3-2. Mets continue to struggle now 9 games under 500, 36-45. They've been really, really bad. And they lose 3 out of 4 to Milwaukee Brewers. Have chance in the 9th inning. Got a couple of guys on. Brandon Mo drew a 2-out walk. Below the bases, but then Starling Marte struck out. He's been struggling. He had a tough night last night. Astros beat the Cardinals 14-0. 5 RBIs from Kyle Tucker, a grand slam from Alex Bregman. Adam Wainwright continues to struggle. He's got a 7.4 ERA this year. Phillies beat the Cubs 3-1. Yeah, the Dodgers over the Rockies 14-3. The MLB All Star Starters were just revealed in the American League. At first base, it was Yandy Diaz. He beat out Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which I think is fair. I know Vladdy's a better player than Yandy Diaz, obviously, but Vladdy hasn't had the best year. I think Yandy Diaz this year deserved it. Second big was Marcus Semien. He beats out with Merrifield. The way they do it now, like they have like the first round, like the top vote getter in each league. If like the first round is automatically a starter, and they have a second round, and then whoever wins that round, like the top vote getter in each league secures their spot, and then they have like 2 finalists for each position, and whoever gets the most votes from there is voted the starter, and then whoever the other guy doesn't get the most votes, they don't become a starter, and then it's up to, and then from there, then in the reserves. Shortstop was Corey Seager over Bo Bichette. Seager's had a great year, but Bichette's he's hitting over 300. I think he leads the league in hits. So I may have went with Bichette, but Corey Seager's had a great year. Josh Jung will start at third base from another Texas Ranger over Matt Chapman. He's got a breakout year. Outfielders are Mike Trout, Randy Arozarena, and Aaron Judge. The 3 guys who missed out were Yordan Alvarez, Adolis Garcia, and Kevin Kiermaier. Judge I doubt is going to play it because he's hurt. The All-Star break is in less than 2 weeks. So I doubt Judge is going to play in it. Yordan Alvarez would have been next up, but he's also hurt. I doubt he's going to play in it. So probably Adolis Garcia or Kevin Kiermaier will take Aaron Judge's spot. Probably Adolis Garcia. Shout out to Randy Arozarena for, I believe that's his first All-Star appearance, so kudos to him. Catcher was Jonah Heim. He beats out Adley Rutschman. I would have said Rutschman, but Jonah Heim also had a really good year. Ohtani is DHing. Surprise, surprise. Hopefully Brandon Belt doesn't get too pissed off. He made the comment a week or 2 ago saying he's a better player and a better leader. I think he's high on something that's a terrible comment. Ohtani, you couldn't sniff Ohtani's shoes. That being said, Bell probably will be an all-star because he's had a very good year. And last week, the first play, it's Freddie here, and he beats out Matt Olson. I think it's the right choice. Freddie's still kicking it. Olson, though, probably does make the all-star team. He's had a very good year as well. Second base was Luis Arias. He beats out Ozzy Albies. I mean, Arias hitting .392, and it's almost July. Like, that's insane. Shortstop was Orlando Arce. He beat out Francisco Lindor. Lindor's had a weird year. He's only hitting like .220, but he's got like 16 home runs and over 50 ribby, which is like top 2 at least for all shortstops. He's like at least top 4, and if not top 2 in basically every category for among shortstop. But he's only hitting like .220 with like a .750 OPS, which is about league average. So a weird year. Overall, I think he's our speed all-star. To me, I'm not sure if Orlando Arce deserves to start the All-Star game. He's played well, especially he's been there every day. Shortstop decided to the kid they brought up last year, Vaughn Grissom, who came up last year and played well late in the season. When Ozzy Albies got hurt, played second base for them. They decided to keep him in the minor leagues to start the year. And then they started to start Arce with Dansby Swanson signed with the Cubs. It's been good. I want to be biased and say Lindor, but to me, I don't think either of them deserve to start. I'm trying to think of the other candidates, but to be fair, there wasn't for whatever reason, the shortstop this year were much better in the American League. Like a Bo Bichette, Corey Seager. Like Lindor, I think is an all-star, but I don't know if he should start. I would have set him over Orlando Arce, but I probably don't deserve to start, to be honest. Third base was Nolan Arenado, Austin Riley. I don't think I can say much there. Outfield for Ronald Acuna, of course. He's right now, I think, is hands down the MVP of the National League. Mookie Betts and Corbin Carroll had a phenomenal rookie year for the Diamondbacks. They beat out Michael Harris and Lourdes Gurriel. Michael Harris, I don't think should be an all-star, to be honest. He's played better after a rough start, but I don't think he's no Lourdes Gurriel, though. He's had a breakout year of Arizona this year. But I think those are the right choices. Catcher was Sean Murphy over Will Smith. Probably could go either way, but Sean Murphy, I do think is the right choice. DH was JD Martinez over Bryce Harper. Of course, Harper didn't get activated until the middle of May. That makes sense. JD Martinez, he's the guy who the last couple of years has still been good, but not quite the guy he was a few years ago. Has had a bit of a resurgent year this year. So those are your all-star starters. Personally, I don't really care. I think the MLB All Star game, the voting is just a popularity kind of. A lot of these All Star votings is. I don't even think they should have the fans vote. To be honest, I feel like they should have maybe the league pick or something. They should have a different system. It's a popularity contest, if you ask me. Personally, I thought you could argue Pete Alonso for the Mets. He's been struggling lately, last 2 weeks or so. Maybe, but Freddie Freeman and Miles have also had great years as well. But those are your all-star starters. On to hockey. The Blackhawks made a couple of trades. They pick up Josh Bailey from the Islanders, as well as they also get a 2026 second-round pick in that. They'll send some future considerations to the Islanders. They're expected to buy out Bailey. Bailey is 35 years old, which he's 33. He's been 15 years, which I did not realize. But really, I thought he was younger than that. He had 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points last year. He's 33. He's due $5 million in the last year. That big contract the Islanders gave him. He's definitely a salary dump move by the Islanders. I know some Islander fans who were, most of them, the consensus was he's been there a while. It's crazy that he's been with the Islanders for 15 years. He was pretty well liked for the most part. A little sad to see him go. It's always sad when you have a guy who's been there that long, still contributing in some way, even though he's on the fourth line, but still contributing in some way. Get let go. He's very, that's the business side of sports is a little tough. But all of them said, definitely the right move. He's not worth $5 million anymore, and I kind of agree. I think he can still help someone on the fourth line. I expect Chicago to probably buy him out. I think someone will pick him up, and I think he can still be on someone's fourth line, but not worth $5 million anymore. Chicago also picked up Corey Perry from the Lightning. They make a trade to get him. They get Corey Perry as well as a 2024 second-round pick. This is the 7th-round pick the other way in 2024 to Tampa. Corey Perry's been around a long time. He's now 38 years old. He was at the Anaheim Ducks for almost a year. He's bounced around, but he was on Tampa last year, I think the last 2 years. He's due $1 million, can make up to like $1.25 million this year. After 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points, we still have solid bottom six forward, even at 38 years old. Chicago picks up. Chicago's been making a lot of trades. They also made a trade. They picked up Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno from the Bruins. Of course, they drafted Connor McDonald first overall. The Blackhawks are a team that's in a rebuild, but they're trying to move that forward. They know teams are going to be salary dumping with free agency around the corner, and they're kind of like that lifeboat for teams that are salary dumping. You know, like the Bruins are trying to create enough cap space to re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi, and if he decides to play, not retire, Patrice Bergeron. So they decided to move Hall and Nick Foligno, and they took back 2 random restricted free agents we never heard of. And I think they got a throw-in prospect. You know, the Islanders are trying to do a salary dump. You know, Josh Bailey isn't worth $5 million anymore. You know, he's on an expiring contract, so they're taking back draft picks. You know, and they got like Boston. Taylor Hall's still a very good player. Nick Foligno's a good guy to have in your locker room. He can still contribute to the bottom six. And then you pick up Bailey, who you're going to buy out, but you pick up an extra draft pick, a second-round pick in 2026. And Corey Perry, who's a guy who's a veteran, who's on an expiring deal, he's not making that much money. He can still help the bottom six. You get a second-round pick next year from him. You give him just a 7th-round pick. And the Bailey trade is his future considerations. Probably like a mid or late-round draft pick. In the Boston, they gave up basically nothing. So Chicago has been very busy, and like I said, they took a possible generational prospect, Connor McDonald first overall. He's 17 years old. That's crazy. Most people his age are going into their senior year of high school. Most 17-year-olds haven't even graduated high school yet, and he's going to be playing in the NHL. That's wild. First, have these guys come into the NHL 17, 18, 19 years old, and are like all-stars their first year in the NHL. That's crazy. Like, when I was in high school, I'm like a senior in high school. I'm 17, 18 years old, and I'm hearing these dudes are getting drafted at 18. I'm like, telling me this guy's the same age as me, and he's playing in the NHL. That's wild. A couple of buyouts. The Predators are buying out Matt Duchene. He's got 3 years and $24 million left on his contract. He's older, isn't the same. Well, they waived him, and then they're going once he clears waivers, they're going to buy him out. Winnipeg just doing the same to Blake Wheeler, who was their captain for a long time. They are buying him out. Well, we're waiving him, and they will buy him out. And the Carolina Hurricanes, they are finalizing their contract to re-sign Jesper Foss, a 2-year deal with a total of $4.8 million, $2.4 million a year. All right, on to NBA for Andy. There's a ton of rumors going on. Big news that came out last night. James Harden, Sixers shooting guard. He is opting in to his $35.6 million player option, but only for the Sixers to facilitate a trade, so he is expected to be traded. I heard the Clippers and the Knicks are 2 main suitors for him. I heard the Clippers are the favorite. I heard the Knicks are involved. I heard the Heat are going to look into him. The Bucks might be involved. As Knicks fan, I really don't want Harden. He's a little older now. Isn't quite the same player. Can still facilitate. You know, I really think he should do something like an off-the-ball role and be a guy that gives you 16, 18 points, 8 or 9 assists. I mean, like he averaged 21 points and 10 assists last year. But He's not gonna drop 30 a game every night. He's not gonna have 40 and 50-point nights all the time. He's not good in the playoffs. I don't think you're really winning a championship with James Harden, like as your first or even your second option. Like in Philly, he's the second option. He's basically the co-star Joel Embiid. As an off the ball facilitator, as the third or fourth option, I think he could be a decent piece. I mean, said I don't know if James Harden's going to be willing to accept the off the ball role. So we'll see what happens. It's been a very back and forth stuff. There was a lot of rumors he was going to opt out and then go to the Rockets. Then it was rumors he might opt out, but then re-sign with the Sixers on another team-friendly deal like he did last offseason. And then we came up, the deadline for guys to opt in or opt out was 5:00 yesterday. He still hadn't made a decision yet. Then you decide, he's going to opt in, but only because the Sixers are going to work the trade. Like, wait, what the heck happened? Apparently, Jalen Green was a young player on the Rockets, the talented young player. He went on Paul George's pockets and made some comments about the possible bringing in Harden didn't like. Paul George basically said, he said, I look at you as the king of Houston. He's their number one guy. And, he said, with Harden coming in, Harden's a ball dominant player. You're the guy who has to deal with, the double and triple team that's the main star, and that, it's possible that could hurt your development. And Jalen Green agreed with him. He says, I see the positives and the negatives to it. Probably Harden didn't really like that, so that's kind of why he's probably leaning away from returning to Houston. I mean, they drafted Amon Thompson, who's a point guard at 4th overall. I heard they're going after Fred VanVleet. They're going to offer maybe $2 for $80 million. I heard they're going after Dylan Brooks as well, who's a guard forward. So looks like that's not going to happen. I heard he's not happy in Philly, which is weird. I heard the problem was Doc Rivers. I mean, after the playoff loss, they asked him, what relationship is with Doc Rivers. He basically said, it's meh. It's basically what he said without actually saying that. And then they fired Doc. He thought, okay, they're between, all right, we either keep Doc and trade away Harden, or we keep Harden, but we have to fire Doc. So they chose to fire Doc Rivers. And then, of course, they bring in Nick Nurse as their new coach. But apparently Harden's not happy. He's still unhappy in Philly, so they're going to work on a trade. So Harden will most likely not be in Philly next year. The Kings are going to re-sign Harrison Barnes. The free agency doesn't start. Right now, I'm doing this live at about 4:45 Eastern time, about 6:00. This will go. This is when free agency starts. So those of you watching on YouTube, it may or may not be 6:00 yet. But you can't finalize anything until for another couple hours from right now, when I'm filming this. But these still things are basically verbally done, but you can't put pen to paper yet. The Kings will re-sign Harrison Barnes, 3 years, $54 million. Barnes has Saudi Arabia average 15 points a game. Kyrie Irving's going to have a lot of meetings. He's going to meet with the Phoenix Suns. I don't think that makes a lot of sense to me. First of all, I don't know where they're getting the money to sign Kyrie Irving. I don't know where they're going to find that. Also, yes, because the Suns like, who's the primary ball handler? Is it Beal or is it Booker? Kyrie would obviously be your primary ball handler. He's a great ball handler. He's a point guard. But you got 4 ball dominant scoring guys there in Kyrie, Durant, Beal, and Booker. Too many cooks in the kitchen. That team is it might score 150 points a game, but they're gonna give up 123 more. No one's playing defense on that team. Beal ain't, Kyrie definitely isn't, Durant isn't playing a ton of defense, and Booker isn't playing a ton of defense either. So, yeah. I don't think that works. But today, apparently he's going to meet with the Miami Heat, the Houston Rockets, the Lakers, and the Clippers. Clippers would be intriguing. They need a point guard, but, Kyrie, Kawhi, and Paul George together Now, I know there's rumors Paul George might be traded. The Knicks are talking about possibly trading for Paul George. Maybe if you trade Paul George, but still, right now you have three guys who are always hurt: and Kyrie, Kawhi, and Paul George. I mean, on top of it, Kyrie is obviously a complete drama queen and not a good guy to have in your locker room. But all three of those guys are always getting hurt. If you trade Paul George, your main two stars, Kyrie and Kawhi, are always hurt, especially Kawhi. Jesus Lord. I don't think that makes sense. I mean, with Kyrie in Miami, Kyrie, Jimmy, and Bam is pretty scary. Fit-wise, I don't mind it. And the Heat, I think, could use an upgrade at point guard. Your point guards right now, or possibly Gabe Vincent needs to re-sign them. Kyle Lowry are your two main point guard. I don't think either is I think both are really good number 2 point guard. I don't know if either is a star. No, Gabe Vincent started. He ended up taking over Kyle Lowry as a starter. He was very good in the playoff, but again, does he like the Heat culture is whether you're a superstar, you're a role player, you're at the end of the bench, you're always working. Does Kyrie fit that? I don't know. The Lakers, I mean, obviously everyone wants to put him when LeBron's good, but him, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, to me, again, 3 guys that just can't stay healthy. I don't really think that works. And the Rockets, I mean, I would not bring a guy like Kyrie into a locker room with all those young guys. I don't think he's a good influence. I said Rockets appear looking to make a splash. They get the most cap space in the league. If I were them, I would spend on a couple of guys, which it appears they're doing. They're looking like they're going to sign Fred. They might sign Fred VanVleet. They're going after Dylan Brooks. Sign a couple of guys like that. Get some quality veterans in there. See what happens this year, and then maybe next year you look to maybe make a splash. Maybe if a star wants out, that could be a young talent. You package a couple of guys and go and get a superstar next year, maybe. But I wouldn't go off to Kyrie, so we'll see what happens. But that's what Kyrie's doing right now. The Lakers, maybe they are going after him because they're actually trying to create some cap space. They did not guarantee Mo Bamba's contract, so they are waiving him. He will hit the open market. He averaged 6 points and 4 rebounds last year, mainly in Orlando. He played 9 games with the Lakers. He averaged, I think, like 3 points with the Lakers. Didn't play that much. He averaged like 25 minutes a game or something like that. I think he averaged like 17 or 18 minutes a game right now. He averaged only like 9 minutes a game in 9 games with the Lakers. Then he got hurt. So he get back to the very end of the postseason. Game 4 against Denver when they got swept. That final game, I think he played that game. Everyone was like, "Oh, Lakers are getting Mo Bamba back in Game 4 to possibly help them guard Jokic." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, Mo Bamba ain't gonna stop Jokic." So he's a free agent. They have declined their team option on Malik Beasley, which is worth $16.5 million. So Beasley will hit the open market. He averaged 12.7 points a game last year. I think he's a solid role player on the bench. He also did struggle shooting the 3 last year, but he's now an unrestricted free agent. Andre Drummond is up into his playoff worth $3.4 million. He's kind of washed. He's all he's good for now is rebounds. He averaged 6 points and 6.6 rebounds last year. He's an average backup center at best. He's back in Chicago. Josh Hart opts into his deal with the Knicks, so he's back with the Knicks. I'm very happy about that. He played fantastic basketball for the Knicks. He averaged between Portland and the Knicks. He averaged 9.8 points a game, 7.8 boards, shot almost 53% from the field. But with the Knicks, he averaged 10.2 points and 7 boards, shooting 58% from the field, 51% from 3, almost 79% from the line. He was a perfect fit for the Knicks. I know they pushed back his opt-out deadline. So yesterday, a couple of days, I thought it was okay. They were just working on an extension, so they're like, all right. So he's probably going to opt in and then sign an extension. No news on an extension yet. We'll see what happens. But he, at very least, under contract for this upcoming season with the New York Knicks. The Pistons have acquired Joe Harris, shooting guard from the Nets for 2 second-round picks. A couple of years ago, he was one of the best three-point shooters in the league. The last year or two, I don't think has been as efficient. But the Pistons get a veteran there. They gotta figure up their starting lineup, but they already have Ivy and Cade in the backcourt. I assume All-Star Thompson's gonna be the small forward. To me, they already need a true power forward, maybe even a stretch five to kind of hide All-Star Thompson's deficiencies from three. Basically 4 big men there. And Jalen Duren, who drafted last year, Isaiah Stewart from a first round, and pretty recently Marvin Bagley, and then James Wiseman. I'd package 1 or 2 of those guys, maybe see if they can get a power forward. They already need a true power forward to me. Honestly, it makes sense for them to sign Draymond Green. It gives them like a veteran, obviously championship experience, a 4-time champion. He's a good defender. Those need he can be your starting power forward. Those to trade a couple of those big guys, maybe go out and get a really good playmaker. But I think Joe Harris will probably be like a shooter on the bench, basically. I mean, they only have 2 second-round picks. That's a salary down for that season. On expiring deal, I think worth $19.9 million. The Pistons think get 2 second-round picks, thinking 27, 29 as well. You got apparently the Pistons. They would trade Bojan Bogdanovic, but only if they get a first rounder and 2 second rounders for him. Got so many rumors going on right now. The Rockets might move Kenyon Martin Jr. I heard they've been getting a lot of calls on them. They might move him. Your Rockets should have a very busy offseason. Indiana trades Chris Duarte to the Kings. They'll get some unknown draft competition back. With the open cap space, I heard they're going to pursue Bruce Brown and Kyle Kuzma. I heard they may offer Bruce Brown $20 million a year. Speaking of Bruce Brown, he's going to have a very busy free agency. He's meeting with the Lakers, the Knicks. I'm very happy. I love Bruce Brown in New York. The Houston Rockets, the Pacers, of course, and the Dallas Mavericks. And of course, there's always the possibility he re-signed with the Denver Nuggets. I believe they can offer him a 4-year deal worth a little bit more than $50 million. We'll see what happens. He seems to be very highly touted. He had a career this year. Was great in the playoffs. Just won a ring. You win a ring and you're a free agent. You're gonna make some money. Clippers are willing to trade their center Ivica Zubac. Keep your eye on that. I heard the Heat are offering guard Gabe Vincent $8 million a year. Kevin Love, who was playing the Heat, pick up late in the season off the buyout market. I heard he's interested in joining the Suns. I mean, the Suns could need literally anybody to play on that or come off the bench. I think he'd be a solid, I mean, right now, your lineup, you're going, I guess, I don't know who their point guard is. I guess it's Beal, maybe. And you have Booker, I'll say at the 2. Joshua Okogie probably is your 3. Give you some defense. Durant probably playing the 4, and you have Ayton as your big guy. I mean, if you wanted to, you could move Durant to the 3, start Kevin Love, and then put Okogie on the bench, give you a little bit more depth. But to me, Kevin Love, I think is a backup power. I don't think he's a starter anymore. I think he still has value as a number 2 power forward. He can still shoot the ball a little bit, can still defend a little bit. Got a lot of really veteran to have in your locker room, a lot of playoff experience. Championship in 2016. He's been in the finals many times. Every time he's been in the playoffs, he's been in the finals. That's pretty wild. With the Cavs all those years, and then this year at the Heat. He's I think he's been in the finals like 4 or 5 times every other year he's missed the playoffs. He was on some bad Minnesota teams. The very end of his tenure in Cleveland, wasn't the playoff team. And then in this year, the Heat made the playoffs, and they were in the finals. So that's kind of that's a fun fact. Hearing the NBA may punish flopping. If the guys flop, the referees can review it and give them a technical foul and give the team technical free throws. So that's something that's interesting. We'll see what NBA does from there. That's all the NBA news that I have. I'm trying to look on my phone, see if anything else. The only other thing I have is that apparently the Sixers are not going to extend Tyrese Maxey this offseason. They see him as a big part of the future, but don't want to extend them quite yet.
I heard there's rumors about like Knicks may trade Obi Toppin. I heard apparently he got the audio release. He got into a major argument with Tom Thibodeau during the postseason. He's frustrated he didn't get a lot of playing time. There's rumors he might go to Indiana. This one draft pick back from. I would not trade Obi. I'd keep him unless you get like a superstar like Joel Embiid or Giannis or something. But that's not going to happen for at least another year. I would rather trade Julius Randle, get back maybe a young piece or a young player or two, and the draft pick or two, and then let Obi start and play. Because Obi Toppin, when he's gotten like I think at least 30 minutes, he's been basically an all-star level player. I like to give him a chance. Then I would rather do that than trade Obi Toppin for even a couple of first-round picks. But yeah, that's NBA news I have. I'm sure things are going to continue to roll out. If anything big comes out while I'm still in the air, I'll get that to you guys right away. As for the NFL, they're investigating Tyreek Hill apparently for an assault. He assaulted some person. He's had so many issues. He's had issues in the past. At Oklahoma State, I think he was dismissed from Oklahoma State when he was in college, and given 3 years probation his last year at Oklahoma State after he was arrested for domestic abuse. A few years ago, I think it was 2019, maybe. There was a oil clip that was revealed appeared that he abused his son, the argument he had of his wife over it. It was not charged criminally. NFL did not suspend him. He had the issue only a week or two ago, apparently. He got into an altercation with some guy at some boat club or something. They ended up not pressing charges. The charges ended up getting dismissed, I think. Unless he's got clearly has some issues. Until was investigating him, that I heard they won't make a decision until the criminal investigation is over. But if once that's over, I heard he could be suspended. So keep your eye on that. Isaiah Rod, Rashad Berry, and Demetrius Taylor got suspended a year for gambling. Isaiah Rod and Rashad Berry both play for the Colts. The Colts have cut them. Demetrius Taylor plays for the Lions. I have not heard news if they've cut him or not. I'm sure he will be cut. I know originally when it said, CJ Moore was caught gambling, they cut him right away. Jameson Williams got suspended this game. I was not going to cut him. Drafted him in the first round last year. He's a chance to be a great player. So gambling is going to continue to come down. NFL is very strict with that. So Jonathan Jones, who's a corner on the Patriots, came out and said something. He said, I know rules are rules, but he basically said, come on. You got NFL partners with all these sports books and they're suspending guys for gambling. Come on. Nicholas Petit-Frere, who's off the tackle on the Titans, got suspended 6 games for gambling. He got suspended for betting on another sport at the Titan facility, which I think is beyond stupid. Look, I think the rule should be you cannot bet on the NFL. That should be, if you bet on the NFL, you will the first offense you get a year. If you second offense, you're out of the league. If guys want to bet, if an NFL player wants to bet on a basketball game, I don't know why that's an issue. I don't get it. Because at the team facility, I don't know why that's an issue. Considering the NFL is partners with FanDuel and every sportsbook in the world, DraftKings come on. So dumb. So dumb. Well, by the way, Isaiah Rod, I heard most of them. His bets, he placed hundreds of bets. Most of them were between $50 and $100, but he placed an $1,000 bet on an over-under for a Detroit Lions running back for how many rushing yards of that, and it hit. So that's what really got him in trouble, I heard. Jaguars officer came around and got suspended 4 games for PEDs, not gambling, but he was doing steroids. I don't know. Pick your poison. Which one's worse? I think the PEDs is worse. He gets less games. That's the NFL. It's how they work, apparently. I don't know. But he got 4 games. That's why the Jaguars drafted Anton Harrison in the first round in the first place. They knew that was coming. The Patriots extending Juwan Bentley, their linebacker, 2 years, $18.75 million, $9 million guarantee a day after they spend they extended receiver Devontae Parker for $333 million. The Patriots have been trying to keep these guys together. The Rocket Mortar Classic right now is going on the PGA Tour. Trevor Moore right now is the leader at 13 under par. So we got a couple more days of that. Money in the Bank for WWE is tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern time. The reason it's at a little earlier one day because it is taking place in London. So there, I don't know what the time difference is there, but so they're trying to be fair with the time difference. We got the World Heavyweight Championship. It'll be Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. I think will be a great match. We have a tag team match, Bloodline Civil War, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. Intercontinental Championship will be Gunther versus Matt Riddle. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match will be the participants are Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul. Logan Paul, of course, was a late addition. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match will be the participants are Becky Lynch, Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus, who is still going. Trish Stratus looks phenomenal. Not simping or anything, I promise, but just seriously, she keeps herself in great shape for someone who has been a full-time wrestler and as long as last time that was a thing. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio in a one-on-one match, and then the women's tag team championship will be Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defending against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm gonna do my predictions now. I'll say Rollins. I'll say Rollins retains the title against Finn Balor. I'm gonna take the Usos to beat Reigns and Sikoa. Part of me thinks. Well, part of me would love to see maybe the Usos win, and maybe Solo Sikoa return on Roman Reigns and join the Usos. I have Doom 14 against Matt Riddle. I don't think that, to me, it's pretty obvious. Men's Money in the Bank, I got LA Knight. I really want to see him win. I would not be mad if Ricochet won the match. He's probably one of the most gifted athletes WWE's had in a while. I would not be mad if Damian Priest won the match. I think he's a very underrated wrestler. I would love to see him get a push. I love the Judgment Day. I would also not be mad if Logan Paul won. I'm telling you now, I would not be mad if Logan Paul won. Logan Paul is a legit wrestler, and I do believe he's the future world champion. Women's winning the back line. I'm gonna go with Io Sky. I think she deserves a push. I actually think Damage Control could get broken up soon. I know Dakota Kai's out for injury right now, so maybe they want to wait till she comes back. But I think Io Sky and Bayley won't be together for that much longer. I think they might be broken up soon. I would not be mad at all if Zelina Vega won. She's I think a budding star. I would not be mad if she won. Even if they get even Becky Lynch is one of the best wrestlers they got and has been. She's a future Hall of Famer. I don't know why that would be an issue. Cody against Dom. I'm gonna have Dom win. Ray Ripley, I'm sure will be there ringside. I'm sure something funky's gonna happen. I think Dom's gonna win. He just like escapes with a kind of cheap victory. I think that's gonna happen. And women's tag title, I'm gonna have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez win. To me, I don't really care about this match. Women's tag team titles aren't, they haven't been around that long. I don't really care, to be honest, about who wins this match, but I'll take Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Before I sign off, ESPN has been laying people off today. They've been going through Buttercuts for a while. There's been rumors this has been happening. Neil Everett, who's who's been a SportsCenter anchor for the last 23 years, he recently just left SportsCenter. Maybe something similar to Kenny Mayne, where they asked him to take a pay cut, and he was like, "You know what? I've been here 30 years. I've paid my dues. I don't got to take a pay cut. I'm just gonna leave." And his last SportsCenter show, he told Aaron Rodgers to go F himself, and then walked off. It was hilarious. Neil Everett's gone. Actually, Scott Van Pelt, who I think is one of the greatest SportsCenter anchors of all time, has said he doesn't think he'll be there more than another 3 years. So I think he's going to retire soon, unfortunately. But Jeff Van Gundy has been let go. One of the best basketball announcer. He is now a free agent. ESPN will let him go. We'll see. I'm a little upset about that one. I love Jeff Finley. He's a great announcer. We'll see if who will join that crew with Mike Breen and Mark Jackson. I heard they're going to fulfill it internally. I heard JJ Redick is a candidate, which I wouldn't mind. I like JJ Redick. He's a great analyst. You know, he's a guy he's a great analyst, and even when I disagree with him, I see his argument. He's not arrogant about it at all. I heard Doris Burke's a candidate. I'm pleading it's not Doris Burke. I cannot stand her. She is really, really annoying. She's just the same four things over and over again. She's not a bad sideline reporter, but she literally says the same four phrases over and over again. She's really annoying. And there's somebody else they're looking at. But thank God he's gone. Jalen Rose has been let go. That wasn't one. I like Jalen Rose. I think he's a good NBA analyst. He was on NBA Countdown. I'm hearing Kendrick Perkins is a candidate to replace him. I kind of hope they don't. I don't like Perkins. I don't think he's a good analyst. He's funny, but he's not. I don't think he's a good analyst. But Jalen Rose is now gone. Keyshawn Johnson is gone. He was let go. I don't mind. I find Keyshawn Johnson very, very annoying and arrogant. I don't know if he's more arrogant as a player or as a analyst. I love him on Sunday NFL Countdown. I definitely don't like him whatever the heck he's doing now with Max and Jay Will. And Max Kellerman had been let go. Of course, Max Kellerman, when he first started, he was the original host of Around the Horn. And then he was on First Take with Stephen A. And then Stephen A basically kind of kicked him off the show. And then he's been the host of This Just In, which I actually thought was a pretty okay show. It was not the best show in the world. It was my favorite, but I thought it was decent. I thought he's let go. I don't think he's a great analyst, but to me, I admire his passion. He clearly is very passionate about. I don't find him to be arrogant or anything. I don't like some of these obnoxious, arrogant guys like Stephen A. or Skip Bayless. Even Kendrick Perkins to an extent. But, you know, I don't think he's a great analyst, but at the very least, he's classy about it. He seems like a good guy. He's an arrogant by any, but he's gone. You know, This Just In is basically cooked. I'm hearing at the end of the summer, the Pat McAfee show is going to replace This Just In, which is why I think they're doing this. You know, ESPN is making a lot of change. You know, they're paying Stephen A. $50 million a year. They're paying Joe Buck and Troy Aikman to announce Monday Night Football a lot. Big Buck makes $18 million a year. Aikman makes $50 million a year. They're paying the Pat McAfee show. They got at least 10 million, like at least 10 or 20 million. But that's to replace This Just In. I know Rob Ninkovich, who's an ESPN analyst, he's an NFL analyst, former New England Patriots winner, Super Bowl winner. Here at the end of the summer, he's leaving the network. LaFonso Ellis. He's a college basketball game day analyst. He was let go. I don't know too much about him, but he was let go. I'm hearing there could be some more guys let go. I'm hearing they're going to lay off like 20 on-air personnel. I heard Jay Williams, I really like. He does NBA and college basketball. I'm hearing he could be like he's possibly like I guess I'm on like the trotting block. Susie Colbert, who's been an NFL analyst for years. She's actually one of my favorites. I heard she's on the chopping block. I heard the NFL coverage will look a lot different next year with this upcoming season. So ESPN going through a lot of changes. And to be honest, I'm not a fan. ESPN's a joke now. First Take is awful. It's so bad. Stephen A., he's funny and entertaining, but he is an absolute clown. He's obnoxious. He's nauseating to listen to. Get Up's pretty good. I love Mike Greenberg. You know, the shows Around the Horn's pretty good. I love PTI. Sports Center, there's very few of them left. You know, Kenny Mayne's gone. Neil Everett's gone now. Scott Van Pelt is still here, but I don't think for much longer. I would be surprised if he retires in the next year or two. And who else? So they have Hannah Bell is still there. couple by one, but obviously rest in peace, Stuart Scott. He died this point. We're probably pushing 10 years. Unfortunately, rest in peace to Stuart Scott. But no. As WFAN's a joke. Craig Carton just left. He's going to FS1 full time. He got a big contract. Thank God. I could not stand listening to him anymore. He's so annoying. He knows nothing about sports. He's not funny anymore. It's Tiki Barber is gonna move up from the afternoon slot to the earlier afternoon spot to like the later afternoon slot with Evan Roberts. Tiki's not my favorite. I think he's kind of boring to listen to, and he's a big New York Giants homer. And then you got in that middle afternoon spot, Sal Licata is now partnering with Brandon Tierney. Tierney I like. He's very passionate. I think he's pretty good. Not a huge fan of Sal Licata. He's very, very passionate. I find him very annoying. So ESPN Sports Radio to me is going down the drain. Hopefully this podcast goes far and I can join ESPN and maybe get some energy into there and help turn some things around. Maybe one day. We'll see. That's all I got for you guys. You won't see me for about another week. I mentioned yesterday the schedule change. You won't see me until Saturday. I'm gonna go live probably Saturday at 2:00 Eastern time on Twitter Spaces. If those of you on YouTube, you should see me hopefully at about 5 or 6 o'clock on YouTube. But until next time, so long. Have a great day.